I've done over 50 conversations on this show now. For the chance to sit down with founders and military leaders, CEOs and community builders, for a wide range of people, like people working in clinical trials and clean energy and workforce development. And the thing I keep hearing, the pattern underneath all of it, is something almost nobody wants to say out loud. The bottleneck is almost never the technology. Everyone assumes innovation gets slowed down by obvious things like bad ideas or not enough funding or lack of talent. But that's not the pattern I see. The pattern is that the systems surrounding innovation, things like procurement, institutional trust, cultural readiness, regulatory frameworks, those aren't designed to absorb change at the speed that it arrives. We keep trying to fix the engine when the road is the problem. Let me show you what I mean. I sit down with a guy named Kyle McAllister who's building a company called Trially. They're using AI to solve one of the biggest problems in clinical trials, which is actually patient recruitment. And right now, when a hospital runs a clinical trial, finding the right patients is done largely by hand. It's research staff actually reading through charts, line by line, matching criteria manually. It takes forever, and it's the number one reason that these trials stall. So Kyle's technology, what he's built with a company, can actually do in minutes what it takes research coordinators weeks to do. So what's the bottleneck, right? It's not the science. The technology works. It's procurement. It's trust. Hospitals don't believe an AI startup can do what they've done manually for decades. The system around clinical trials wasn't designed for a solution that moves this fast. Healthcare builds at the speed of trust, not the speed of the technology. And the bottleneck is actually institutional readiness. So let me give you another example, completely different space. Erik Murray, I had the chance to sit down with him. He works in community development on the east side of Wyandotte County. And one of the things he told me that literally landed was this: there's no shortage of capital flowing into underserved neighborhoods. Billions of dollars moving through the community and moving through community development every year in these underserved and under invested in communities. Things like tax credits, grants, impact investments, federal programs. The money is there. So why do these East Side communities keep getting invested in without benefiting? And that's because the capital structure itself is the bottleneck. Money without community governance, money without aligned partners, and without long-term accountability, that displaces, doesn't develop. Erik has what he calls the no asshole rule for partners that he works with. And it's not a personality test, it's an infrastructure decision. Because capital without design is extraction. The bottleneck isn't whether money exists, it's who the money answers to. So let me give you a third example. Sat down with a friend of mine, Ed Latta. He's the CEO of a Goodwill organization in Pennsylvania who is leading the movement to integrate emerging technologies into workforce training for people with diverse abilities. And I had the chance to talk to him about what AI is doing to the workforce. And the assumption most people make is that the bottleneck is literacy. People don't know how to use the tools. If we just train them, they'll adapt. But that's not what he sees. The real friction isn't literacy, it's agency. It's who decides how AI gets deployed. See, when technology gets pushed top down without co-creation, without input from the people it affects, people become subjects of the change, not participants in it. And the bottleneck there isn't that people can't learn the tools. It's that the tools are being deployed without asking what people actually need. So the bottleneck is design, not education. Dignity is the thing that no one's accounting for in that equation. And so there's three different sectors, three completely different problems, but the friction is the same every time. So here's what I see. First, innovation doesn't stall because of a lack of good ideas. It stalls because the systems around it, things like procurement and regulation and culture and trust and incentive structures, were built for a different speed. Second, most organizations try to fix this by investing in more innovation, more R&D, more startups, more technology. but they're solving for supply when the real constraint is absorption. And then third, the people who actually move things forward in every sector I've seen figured out that the real work isn't building a better product, it's redesigning the infrastructure between a good idea and its impact. So we don't have an innovation shortage. We have an absorption problem. So what does that mean for you? If you're a founder, I would say stop assuming the market is going to recognize your idea solely on its merits. Ask yourself, what is the system my idea has to pass through? And is that system designed to say yes? If you're a corporate leader, stop asking whether your organization is innovative enough. Start asking whether it's absorptive enough. And if you're building an ecosystem, a city, a region, an innovation district, the question isn't how many startups you have. The question is whether the infrastructure around those startups is designed to let them succeed. Every guest I sit down with has a different story, different industry, a different set of problems. But the friction is the same. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's what this show is about. It's not just the people who are building the future, but the invisible systems that decide whether the future actually arrives.